All right, we're back live. The budding YouTube career continues with a magnificent suggestion here from Cooper, who loved the previous evidence bank, so we're going to keep it rolling. I like to hear that feedback, and I'll keep putting together these little evidence banks for you as we go through the rest of the areas of study. So this one is looking at Unit 3, Area Study 2, Armed Conflict. We're looking at Ukraine, we're looking at Russia. Now, it doesn't go through sort of dot point by dot point, but a lot of these pieces of evidence can be used on a number of different dot points and can be used on a number of different key skills as well. So you should be able to use these quotes in your 10 markers. You should be able to use these in political significance questions. You should be able to use these in some of the bigger sort of key skills, potential 7 markers that you might come across. I've grouped them sort of into causes, responses, and perspectives, but as I say, there's a fair bit of crossover. I've got a quote here from Putin, which is attributing one of the causes of the campaign, of the conflict, as the expansion of NATO to the east. It's pretty straightforward. We'll remember that culture and nationalism, Russian culture and Russian nationalism in the Ukraine was also a short-term cause. A stat there is that 17% of Ukrainians identify as ethnically Russian. Alliances were also a contributing factor, and the European Council said that the future of the Ukraine lies within the EU. So that idea of Western alignment of Ukraine is what Putin suggested caused the start of the war. That's what caused him to invade, as the young fella tees off over on the couch. We've got some responses. Ukraine formally sought EU and NATO membership following the invasion. The USA and the West, we've got a quote from Biden here, the US, our allies and partners, have delivered a broad range of assistance at historic speed. So I think historic speed is a really good quote to use in there. NATO, they said that they had delivered unprecedented levels of military assistance. The USA, they stopped imports of Russian energy. And Amnesty International, a response of theirs, they reported violations of international law, human rights abuses on both sides. I'd looked that one up. There's a fair bit that you can choose from there. So if you Google Amnesty International's responses, there's so much to choose from. I'd go and find something there if I were you. Our perspectives. Russia's perspective on the conflict was that they had no other option and that they were denazifying parts of Ukraine. Zelensky said this is clearly a genocide. He said that to the UN. I think that's a really strong line. Biden and the USA said that this conflict had strengthened Ukraine's resolve. He also said the West is now stronger and more united. So you could say that that could even potentially be used as a response. He also said that there was no justification for the invasion. If we look at NATO, NATO supports Ukraine's right to self-defense, is a very simple line you can use to give a response from NATO. And Human Rights Watch have said Russian forces committed a litany of violations of international humanitarian law. So there's plenty of evidence for you to use there for any of your responses. And remember, with some of these, you can take little snippets. So if we look at a few things, I think if you said down here for the Human Rights Watch quote, if you said that, if you use litany as the word, as your quote, I think that would be a really positive one to use. No justification, according to Biden, is a nice, easy quote to remember. Stopping imports of Russian energy, that's a nice, easy one to remember. You've even got when Biden said that the West is now stronger and more united, like more united. Even just those few little words as parts of your quotes is going to be really helpful. Hopefully that helps. I'll put together a few more videos as days go by, with a few more quotes, I think, from Area Study 2 to come. Hooroo.